So everybody's obviously starting draft talk. Everybody's starting mock draft season. Obviously, the Steelers contingent is down at the Senior Bowl, and a lot of the biggest names in mock drafting have no idea where the Pittsburgh Steelers are going. But there is a little bit of a theme with three of the biggest names. Mel Kiper has the Pittsburgh Steelers taking Emeka Ibuka. Daniel Jeremiah has the Steelers taking Matthew Golden out of Texas. And the 33rd team most recently mocked the Steelers to get Ashton Jeanty out of Boise State. So if all three of those guys are there, who's most likely and the best fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2025?
Yeah, I'll go backwards here because I think that's the best way to do this, is to explain who is last on the Pittsburgh Steelers list and then who is most likely first on the Pittsburgh Steelers list. Now, we'll have to explain hypotheticals in this situation, but if things worked out the way the Pittsburgh Steelers hope they do, this is how I see this going down. Number 3 on this list is Matthew Golden. I get it. Phenomenal dude. Great wide receiver coming out of Texas. A lot of potential there. I understand all of it. Xavier Worthy is saying, do not pass on a Texas wide receiver, man. You're gonna regret it. Shout out the Buffalo Bills, who I think we all, for a quick moment there, forgot what they did to us and how in April, everyone was sitting around going, well, the Bills shouldn't win a Super Bowl ever again for what they just did. The universe works in mysterious ways, my friend. Mysterious ways. Number 3 is Matthew Golden. I just don't think he's bigger than the other two names. I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers would look at him as the we must grab him guy if he's available and there are other options available, especially if all three of these guys are available. Number 2 on this list is probably Emeka Ibuka. And that's just because you have to go into the offseason expecting that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to add a veteran wide receiver. And if they can't add 2 of them, I don't know if it's guaranteed they trade George Pickens. I don't know if it's guaranteed they trade George Pickens if they do find 2 of them, but I do expect them to look at 2 wide receiver options. One big name, giant splash offer, and then one pretty good, okay, cool. That's, better than Van Jefferson's situation in the making. I don't know if you saw Pony today, but he started the big, he started the big rumor, all caps. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to offer T. Higgins more than Brandon Ayuk, and he's going to get $30 million a year from Pittsburgh. I bet you there's a chance he gets 31. You tossed out there over $30 million. I mean, it made a lot of sense when you said it. Nothing's changed since. So I'm glad that we're starting the rumor mill here. I would go Ibuka second. I think that the Steelers spend a lot of time at wide receiver in free agency. And while they do want another wide receiver, while they are going to draft somebody, I'm not positive that they'd use their first round pick on one if they have other options available. Number 1 on this list, I think by a mile, is Ashton Jeanty. Just because you could look at Ashton Jeanty as being Saquon Barkley. You could look at Ashton Jeanty as being a guy who came under 30 yards away from beating Barry Sanders' single season record, which everyone thought was impossible. And I understand he needed more games to do it, but still, it doesn't matter. I thought it was absolutely impossible, and he got pretty close. I look at it simply and say the Pittsburgh Steelers have not changed. Julian Edelman went on a nice little rant about how they haven't changed defensively. Well, they haven't changed offensively. The only difference is that they haven't had anybody there on a number of positions to make it work. That's the only thing that hasn't changed, or that has changed. Besides that, the Steelers are still a team that if you sat there and said, what would you like to do? How would you like to formulate your offense? They would say, through our running game. Well, Ashton Jeanty's a pretty good running back. And if he is there, I could see the Pittsburgh Steelers putting him over at literally anybody else who falls to them, including names like McMillan out of Arizona, or maybe Ben Morrison, definitely Ibuka, definitely Golden. These bigger other positions, Steelers are going Ashton Jeanty. This is a fix the offense type of offseason. They're going to fix the defense, but this is a we can't ignore it any longer fix the offense type of offseason. And they're not going to be able to do it at quarterback So they're going to have to do it at running back. Ashton Jeanty is by far the best name available. It doesn't matter how loaded the draft class is, they would go Ashton Jeanty. Do you feel any differently?
No, I think they'd be different if it was like if Ashton Jeanty wasn't the number one running back in this draft class, and we were talking about, oh, is it Caleb Johnson? Is it Omarion Hampton? Is it one of the guys from Ohio State? If that's the case, I think you're looking more towards this wide receiver class. I think you're looking more towards even a Luther Burden over some of those running backs if you get them in the first round. But with Jeanty, and I know a lot of people are saying, well, he did it, he did it in the Mountain West, but he also did it with a Mountain West offensive line. Let's not forget that. And let's also not forget that even though he got the rock a lot of times against Penn State, he was very good. His ability was still shining through against Penn State in the playoffs. So I think the fact that Jeanty is one of those running backs that it's not just the best of this draft class, but the best we've seen in a long time, in a handful of years at that position, a position of need for the Steelers, that he is definitely going to be, as they do, at the top of their board when it comes to their pick. If he gets to their pick,
he gets to their pick, I would just imagine Genty's going to go earlier. But if he doesn't, I agree with you. The Steelers are going to have that guy ranked top 12, top 15, maybe in the draft. Like when they sit down and they go through every single one of their pick. If we were first, who would we pick? Travis Hunter. And it's hilarious that other teams will be like, I don't know, Shadur Sanders, I don't know, Abdul Carter. Travis Hunter by a mile, and then it would be Abdul Carter, and then so on and so forth. I would bet Ashton Jeanty's name is pretty high on that board, on that list. I agree with that one. I think any three of these names would be awesome. So far, the first round drafts have been pretty good. Unfortunately for the Steelers, I think Troy Fautano got mocked to them, like twice last offseason? Yeah, so we're getting there.